Good evening, everyone. We're going to wait a little bit till we get as many people into the party, into the stream as we possibly can. But really, cooking on a Sunday afternoon here in California, getting ready for a little supper. I think it is a party, and why not? So we've got a little Italian white wine, part of which we're going to use in our ingredients. But while we're at it, we might as well enjoy a
And
little
since we
bit of
do
it.
still have some olives left over from the last show, we can do a quick giveaway. I'll post it while you're talking. So that was a good idea.
So how about a little giveaway, a little aperitivo, as every good Italian meal should get started with a little aperitivo, an antipasto, as it were. How about a couple of different olives that you can have as a snack on your hike, on your walk, or you take it to work and just have it at your desk while you're at it. These are lovely. They're pitted. They're delicious. They're great for on the go. I love them, along with some of those antipasto salami and prosciutto things that you can get at the market. These are a perfect add-in. They don't usually come with olives, so when you want a little bit of a spicy and a little bit of a regular, these are perfect. And no one will fault you if you decide to maybe add a little bit of, a little wine during lunch, alla italiana. So tonight's main event is bucatini alla matriciana. And one of my favorite dishes, this comes from a little part northwest of Rome, a place called Amatrice. Um, there's some beautiful towns up in there. You'd love to visit Viterbo, Civita di Bagnoregio, Bolzano, Lago di Bolzano, those areas where you get some really great maiale, or in this case, pig. Because we're going to, as part of this evening's recipe, we're going to cut into some guanciale, so you know how to use guanciale, what to look for, when to use it. And this is my favorite thing. You could use pancetta. Nothing wrong with pancetta if you can't get guanciale. Guanciale is basically pork cheek that's been cured. You're going to be careful when you first get it. You're going to slice off and clean off the harder skin, and then you're just going to get to that beautiful, wonderful, velvety, fatty goodness that is the guanciale. Guanciale. So essentially, this is what you're looking for: guanciale, beautiful fattiness. You're familiar with that. And what you want to do is you want to start off with a pan, some boiling water, salted. You're going to start off at a low medium. You're going to render the guanciale very slowly. You don't want to hurry this. But essentially, you're going to take these strips, strisce, and we're going to give us a nice cubetto, or cube, rustic cube. You don't want it to fall apart. You want it to have beautiful body. And this is what you're looking for. Beautiful cubetti di guanciale. And then your pan is nice and warm. See, no sizzling, nothing like that, because you're going to do this very slowly. You're going to be gentle with the guanciale. So a little story about why I love to cook Italian meals and recipes, even though I am full-on Mexican. I became enamored with cooking because my mom taught me to cook her own recipes, Mexican fare, of course, enchiladas, tacos, you name it. My mom is from Sonora, which is northern state bordering Arizona, a little town called Agua Prieta, just across the border from Douglas, Arizona. My father is also Mexican. He is from the great state of Zacatecas. They were known for their silver mines, and my mother's part of the world was known for copper mines. Agua Prieta means black water. So when water runs through copper, it becomes pretty dark. And that's why you get agua prieta. So already you begin to see some of this glistening That's what you want to see. Nice, nice and gentle. Nice and gentle. You don't want to hurry that. You notice I have not yet put the bucatini into the water yet because we're not quite ready yet, but we're going to get there pretty soon. And now if you're not familiar with bucatini, and honestly with the matriciana, you could use any uh, nice pasta that's got some body to it. You want a nice big rigatoni. You don't want anything too small because it'll get lost in the sauce. You want something that has enough rigidity so that when you're working the sauce and incorporating the sauce into the pasta. So the bucatini is basically a big spaghettone, but it has a hole right through the middle. So it's a little pipe. Bucatini. You can get these at most Italian shops, I hope. But like I said, as long as it's a nice hearty pasta, I wouldn't use a fresh pasta because it might not hold its body quite as well, unless you're able to get a nice big rigatoni. But then you're not boiling it for very long. Here we're going to do the normal 10 to 11 minute cottura or cook time for the pasta. So when I am ready with the base of the amatriciana, that's when I know that I can add the bucatini and everything comes together.
And the winner is.
And the winner is da, 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 Nat 79. Congratulations! Yay! Grate some olives. All right. Excuse me while I take just a little sip. Cooking, cooking is hard work. So I'm going to get back to a little bit of the ingredients. So the big player obviously is the guanciale. We've got, of course, the bucatini. The great thing is it's a very simple recipe, not very many ingredients. That's what I love about the Roman cuisine is that it doesn't take a lot to get flavor out of these beautiful ingredients. But you've got to work. You got to love the cooking part. And here we are. We're just slowly rendering some of that fat. You see that? That's what you're looking for. Sorry? I just have it out. Here's the bucatini. I did, yes. So there's the bucatini ready to go. The second ingredient that we will use will be our base tomato sauce that you saw from the last show that I made. And essentially it's just a sugo, just a simple sugo for 4 servings that we're going to get out of all of this. There's a pound of bucatini. There's a third of a pound of guanciale. We're going to use about a half cup of the tomato sauce because you don't need a lot of sauce. When you incorporate it all and you toss it in the pan, it gets integrated into that pasta and you don't need a lot of sauce. Keep in mind that Italian cuisine, like a lot of homemade cuisine around the world, it's about economy. Most of these cuisines didn't have a lot of money, or these cultures didn't have a lot of money, and so they used humble ingredients and they made so much out of it. The cheek, obviously not a prime cut of meat, but the beautiful, unbelievable goodness that you can get out of it. Just think of, in your own cultures or in your own cuisines, what are some of those dishes that use these basic, simple, humble ingredients and you get so much out of them, right? And part of that is the technique and the timing. And what I love about sharing this with you is that Italian cooking is all about talking. And you know this, you've seen plenty of shows where Italian cooking is the showcase, and it is. It's a family kind of thing. Our kids are out at the pool this afternoon, so they're not here helping, and they normally would be, or I'm forcing them to. But it is a family affair, and you want to get them involved so that they too will learn. We're really just a couple more minutes away from these to render what we need them to render, and we'll show you how this goes. Okay, now's the time, because we're really only about 10 or so minutes away from being ready with the pasta. We drop it in.
Why don't we break the pasta like my mom used to do?
Excuse me?
Remember, my mom breaks the pasta. Why
Oh
would
no,
you break the pasta?
no. The Italians would have conniptions if we broke pastas. We just don't do that. You don't need to, because here we're getting the most out of the pasta. It's all about the texture. It's all about the mouthfeel, and you want to take your forchetta, your fork, and you want to twist. You want to work at it and then put it in your mouth. All that beautiful goodness. Okay, so while that pasta is going, and you want to give it a good swirl, because we don't want any of that to stick. Notice we didn't add anything but water and salt. No oil, nothing like that. If you add oil, like I know some people do, then the sauce isn't going to stick to that pasta, and that's the last thing that you want. All right. The other thing that I don't like to do is, and if you could see it, this pasta water is not overly boiling. It's a gentle mid-high boil, because we don't want to destroy the pasta. You've seen it where you go in there and all of a sudden the pasta's in pieces. Your pasta water was a little bit too hot. Okay, it doesn't have to be quite that hot. It has to be boiling, but a low rolling boil, not a feverish. All right, now look at, if you see in this pan, you see that beautiful goodness that has been rendered, that fat, that's our flavor, that's our base. So now here's what we're going to do next. We're going to take a little bit of our wine. This is about a quarter cup. It's not much. I'm going to use this to help deglaze the pan, and it's going to provide a nice acidity to the salsa. Okay, you're gonna cook all of that alcohol out. You're not keeping any of that, but you're getting some of those residual sugars, the acidity from the grape, and the minerality from it as well. And immediately, what you're going to notice is that you create this beautiful emulsification. Okay, that's when you take an oil and a water, or an oil and a vinegar, and you create this emulsion. That's the base for our sauce, and that's where all the flavor is. And look at this. This is beautiful. I'm going to scrape some of those bits. If you could smell this, you're going to smell some of that alcohol in the beginning, but immediately you're going to get, all you're going to get is this beautiful sort of pungent, bacony flavor. It's not buttery. It's not buttery, but it's got a nice tang to it. And that's essentially what you're creating, is an agro dolce, or a somewhat sweet and sour sauce with the amatriciana.
So review
Give
the
your-
steps that you've taken up for the people that just joined.
Okay, welcome in. We're to review a couple steps. Thank you. My trusty producer back there, Tara. Pasta alla matriciana. Very simple ingredients. We've got bucatini. We've got guanciale, pig's jowl. We're going to have tomatoes, or tomato sauce that we've already made. We've got a little bit of white wine, dry white wine. We'll have a pizzico of red pepper, and then we've got some pecorino romano that we'll use to finish off. The steps that we're at right now is we've rendered the beautiful guanciale cubes, and now as we drop the pasta in with about 10 minutes to go before we're ready to plate, the wine sauce has lost all of its alcohol. It's beginning to reduce and concentrate all of the flavors that you rendered out of the little cubes of guanciale. And it is right here at this moment that I like to add just a touch of salt, a touch of pepper, and we're going to add the little.
AMAC tipped you $5.
Hey, thanks, AMAC. We're going to add a little bit of peperoncino. You could add more if you want a little bit spicier, but we're not trying to. We're not creating an arrabbiata. We're creating something that has a little bit of sort of slow residual heat at the end, but that's it, and it's a lovely heat. All right, and we get it in there. We don't want to do it in the oil by itself, because that'll burn it and it'll make it bitter. All we want is for it to release some of that gentle heat. One of the things to make sure you keep in mind is that we don't want to overcook our pasta. We want it al dente. And in this case, because we're going to put it in our sauce pan, we're going to do it just short of al dente, and it'll finish off in the pan. That's a key to making really good pasta and not having to use too many ingredients and not having to over sauce.
Remind those of us that grew up in the Midwest what al dente means.
Al dente is to the tooth. Al dente, and essentially it's if you can put the spaghetti in between your fingers and you can squeeze it and it goes to dust, you've overcooked it. You want it to have a little bit of firmness to the tooth. That's what you're looking for. All right, now see, I hope you can see that's the beautiful sauce. And now to this, I'm going to turn up the heat to a medium now. And now I'm going to add those tomatoes. These I've had on hand, ready for just such a thing. And I'm going to get this going. All right. Oh, if you could smell this. If you could smell this. This is amazing. And notice, no, I'm not doing any herbs. There's no basil. There's no parsley, no oregano, nothing like that. It's really just the ingredients on their own, doing their beautiful job to work together as an ensemble. We're going to check our pasta, and I'm going to pull one of these out so you can see. Still a little bit too al dente. You see how it's not quite as, we're not as soft as we want it to? We're good. We're almost there. We're about 3 minutes away. We're going to get our sauce simmering a little bit. You don't want to walk away from any of these things. This is when you're getting ready to serve out that primo piatto, that first dish, right? The first course. You want to be ready. If you're serving friends, you can do some of this ahead of time. For instance, you could do the pasta part, the sauce part, about an hour and a half before your friends are coming over for dinner, because that can continue to just sit there, rest, and low simmer, or you can even shut it off and then bring it back to a simmer. And then you dump your pasta so that you're 10 minutes away, okay? You're never more than 10 minutes away if that's what you want to do. Or if you want to entertain your friends, this is the perfect way to do it.
All right, I'm ready for refill, and then you can tell everybody what you're... Is this the one you're cooking with as well?
That's the one.
All right, so you've already cooked with as much as you need to cook with, right? So
yeah, the rest of this is bonus. Somebody's got to drink it.
oh, that's the winery
and then
nearby.
This is from a very nearby winery, the Cornell Winery. You can now again drink one, but you got to buy it by the bottle and drink it outside for now. But great place just up here in the Malibu Hills. Beautiful location, old barn. It has a wonderful restaurant, general store kind of thing.
Why did you buy that one? It's just table wine, right?
Yeah, so this is just the other beautiful part about Italian cuisine and Italian wine drinking is that it's simple, very drinkable wines. Of course, you could buy the very expensive. I mean, there are some very expensive and delicious and incredibly drinkable Italian wines, but you don't have to. And not when you're just doing a Sunday supper. That isn't necessarily a big occasion. But this is just from the Colli Romani. Colli means hills, so out in the hills of Rome. Here, I want you to see this. See that beautiful low simmer, rolling simmer? We're ready. Our pasta is ready. Yep. Pasta's ready. I'm going to go ahead and shut this off. And I'm going to bring the pasta over to the pan. I love this range, except when it clicks like that. I'm not sure why it's clicking. There we go. Ignition. Anyway, and here, this is the key to truly integrating the sauce with your pasta. You put it right in here. This is where it's going to finish cooking. This is where it's going to finish incorporating all of those wonderful flavors that you worked so hard to create. Okay? And then the other thing you want to do is you want to make sure...
Leo, say hi to your sister.
Hi, sister. How are you? Which of them? I remember I've got three.
She's in Spain.
Hey, Graciela. How are you? I know you're in Spain. Somebody took my ladle. I'm going to come and grab it over here. Eccoci qua. You want to keep a ladle handy because you're going to take some of this pasta water, which has these beautiful starches, some salt in there. Not too many. You're not watering it down. All you're doing is adding just a little bit of body to that sauce. And look at this. Look at this. Oh, and you want to, as I'm gyrating this together like this, you want to do this because again, what the pasta is doing is it is finishing, getting up to the temperature that you want it to, is releasing starches into the sauce. That sauce is getting ever more flavorful, ever thicker, which is what you want. All right? And then keep tossing, keep tossing. This usually takes between 3 to 5 minutes, depending on how much your pasta is really ready. And this is definitely ready. You see how all of that is coming together, incorporating little toss. Next time when we meet and we can talk a little bit about some of the equipment that I like to use. I have some chef friends that I rely on. I designed restaurants for as an architect. Of course, I've always wanted to hear how they got to be chefs, their starts, and the equipment that they use, because I like to use the right tool for the right purpose. These are scan pans, which I absolutely love. I think these were a birthday present to myself a while ago. Really great body, great heat distribution and retention. And they have, what you're looking for really is just the right curvature at the edge so that this kind of tossing is fairly easy. A little bit of practice. If you want to practice and learn that technique and add weight more and more, start maybe with some dry beans and practice that motion, this motion. You see that? That motion right there. And try to keep as many of those beans in the pan as you can, and gradually you'll be able to use it. I use that onda, or that wave. Right, now we're going to take some of our pecorino romano and we're going to toss it in. We'll shut it off the heat because we don't need to burn, we don't need to melt. All we're doing is adding yet another texture to the pasta. And that texture is heaven on your mouth.
What's the difference between pecorino and parmesan?
Parmigiano Reggiano only comes from Parma, the area just outside of Parma, in Emilia-Romagna, up in Lombardy. And Pecorino Romano is sheep's milk. Parmigiano is cow's milk. And it is Roman. So this is what you're looking for. You see this? See that beautiful steam? If you could smell that, you would love it. Now let's go ahead and present this lovely machine. Here we go. So I like to take some tongs, give it a nice little twirl, pick it up, gently deliver, do it again. Just depends if you're happy with that person, you can give them a little bit more, or if you're unhappy, you give them a little bit less. That's what Nona would say. Okay, I'm making a little bit of a mess here, but that's okay. This is humble, rustic dinner with all kinds of flavor.
So
okay.
What do we say about the best restaurants in Rome? What are they?
They're trattorie casalinghe. Casalinga is just an Italian way of saying.
I'll let you show the camera first.
So I'm going to show the camera because, of course, Tara's trying to steal my showcase. Get away! But that's what it'll look like. And this is such a simple, beautiful dish. Next time we can make it together. We can order the ingredients ahead of time, and I can walk you through that process. But simple, humble, beautiful dish. I'm going to take a few questions.
Yeah. Or suggestions for. Can I have fork, love?
If anybody wants,
whatever they want to know for next Sunday. We've been putting this one off for a little while, but give shout out to your friend that gave you this idea.
Oh, Basil.
Yeah.
I blame Basil for anything that I end up doing on Whatnot. It's all his fault, or their fault, I should say. Encouragement and a little bit of embarrassment when we did the what was it, the
Food World Tour.
No, but the fridge raid.
Oh yeah, that.
And people make fun of me for all of these. You see those? Those are Parmesan rinds, and you use these in Italian soups, bean soups and minestrone and things like that. Trust me, you want those.
Sharky came in late and she just tipped you $1, so walk her through all of it as best you can.
We're going to walk through these steps one more time, just so that we can recap, and hopefully you can run out to the grocery store. Your favorite Italian.
She can rewatch it on YouTube.
Just rewatch it on YouTube. Yes, that's a new feature that I didn't know about that we are going to roll out. But really, I'm going to show you again. This is one of my favorite cookbooks. Of course, it's in Italian. And so you get the Italian lingo for cooking and the sort of colloquial way of saying them in the Roman tongue, right? The Roman dialect. And this is called La Specialità della Cucina Romana. Okay. And then one of my other, of course, favorite is this wonderful book, Marcella Hassan. This is where you can get. I mean, this is 450 pages of the basics of Italian cooking, and then you can take it as deep into Italian fare as you want. How to make breads, risottos, all of the basic sauces, and of course, as with any cuisine, it's taking advantage of whatever ingredients you do have available to you. So again, you may not have guanciale available, but a good pancetta will work.
Show her the wine that you got and why she missed the wine conversation. Why you got the cheap?
Well, the inexpensive one. You don't say cheap. The inexpensive one because we were cooking with it. But again, you don't have to spend a lot of money on good Italian table wine because you're drinking it, on maybe a daily basis or with dinners. We did when we lived in Rome. We drank wine with lunches, dinners.
Look in front of so she can screenshot. Let's just picture of the book. I need to source them so we can sell them on your lives.
There you go, Marcella Hassan. Marcella Cucina. And it's basically just all the basics of Italian cuisine. It's sort of, just think of it as the Julia Child, but the Italian version. And she'll walk you through all of those beautiful dishes. Some of which I've learned, but some of which I learned from the book, but some of which I learned while working in a Roman kitchen a long time ago during graduate school for a couple of weeks while I was a student there. And waiting for Tara to join me on her spring break from school. So, any other questions or any other requests? I'm gonna catch my breath with a little bit more vino from Italia with my Cornell Winery glass.
Oh, Little Fox just joined. You helped me package quite a few things for our friend Baby. Nick Shaw's here, Mr. Ryan.
Hi, everyone. Glad you could join us. Shall we do one more giveaway, or is that to end the show?
Somehow, yeah, I don't think anybody's going to say no to a giveaway.
We're going to do one giveaway. One last giveaway, because I got to eat some of this that I just prepared. Oh, and our daughter's Italian boyfriend is visiting us up here, and so he's going to sample it. He is from Bari.
Did you eat both of the canolas?
No, the cannoli are still in there from our recent trip up to. Hold on.
If we could ship it, we would. Let's just do the olives again because we've got extras of the olives.
Want to do the olives again?
Olives again.
Okay. We're gonna do one more olive giveaway, but we wanted to. I guess Tara wanted you to see. These are cannoli. The chocolate covered cannolo and just your basic cannolo ricotta, a sweet, beautiful ricotta filling accented with these chocolates. And we had one of them yesterday and it was absolutely delicious. Just absolutely wonderful. So I'm hopeful that you all have Italian delis or markets not far away.
Sharky said a recipe with porchetta for next recipe. Tell her about the sandwich you had yesterday.
Oh, so recipe, you really want to make porchetta? I mean, porchetta is that pig is supposed to roast for at least overnight. But we could maybe do something. There is a version that you can do at home, so it's not the full. It's not the full pig. It's basically pork belly instead of the whole hog, so to speak. And it is absolutely delicious. And so, yeah, I did have at that same deli. I had a porchetta sandwich. One of our favorite places on the Campo dei Fiori in Rome was called Aristo Campo, and this Aristo Campo wasn't a fancy sandwich eatery or anything like that. It was just your basic sandwich takeaway place, and they would normally have this big maiale, the big pig, right out front because that was front and center. That's what you had, and they're probably only got 5 or 6 different ways of having your porchetta sandwich. But basically, a la normale is basically you just take this beautiful bread, some of the juices from the porchetta and then you put you can ask for different parts of the pig because obviously like me as a Mexican I always love the more crackling parts that have a little bit more texture, but other people want more of the belly or more of the shoulder, whatever you want. And so you put that in between this beautiful bread. I used to love them in rosette, which were essentially an Italian brioche, and it just melts in your mouth because it's still warm. The juices are warm. The meat has gotten so beautiful, flavorful, and tender that it just melts in your mouth. And you're just talking about sage, thyme, rosemary, marjoram, garlic, and olive oil. That's it, salt and pepper. But it's absolutely delicious. So yeah, maybe we can work on doing a porchetta, pork belly.
Well, so at
Porchetta.
that place, I wonder if they. I mean, I guess we could do a porchetta panini too. Like,
Yeah, we could do actually what we could do is we could do a panino and tramezzino show. All essentially we could make a bevy of Italian sandwiches that you can make at home for on the go if you want, or for your lunch, or even for dinner, because
so
they're fantastic sandwiches.
Bella says sauce, anything with prosciutto, and homemade pasta, enchiladas. She loves food, so anything.
Okay. Well, yeah, we can definitely. And yet, last night, I won't tell my wife this, so don't tell her. I was already in the middle and was going to make Mexican rice, which is basically Spanish rice, a little bit redder, a little bit more spice. But I didn't have all the ingredients. I didn't have the onions, so I used shallot instead. I didn't have tomato sauce, so I used tomatoes. And then a little bit of the birria consomme to give it a little bit of color, a little bit of depth of flavor. And it's still, I think it was one of my best rices. But I'm always competing with my mother's rice. My mother's rice is still king or queen. I still can't compare to what my mom is able to do. But I'm trying.
This is the best.
I'm working it out.
Orange rice, as Luke likes to call it.
Yes, orange rice. Or Nana's rice is
okay,
what we call it.
Sharpie, that you'll put the recipe on my YouTube channel.
We'll put the recipe for the amatriciana. Super simple, not too many ingredients. Hopefully you can find them. And again, there's a lot of substitutes that you can use if you can't necessarily get guanciale. The reason guanciale, obviously that's the traditional one, the traditional cut of meat to use for this is because it has that beautiful cured, very earthy, very umami kind of fat that gets rendered and becomes a base for that sauce. Pancetta is just a little bit too sweet, but it still does the trick. And so what you might need to do is add a little bit more pepper than you otherwise would, so that you cut some of that sweetness. And you definitely want to make sure you use a super dry white wine instead of a sweet white wine, because then it's just too much sugar. And the one thing you don't ever use is sugar in any tomato sauces or any sauces ever. In Italian cooking, yeah, that's all. If you do those tomatoes right, they will release all of the sugar that you need.
Let's draw a winner.
We're drawing a winner. I'm gonna show them again.
Have a good giveaway.
All right, that'll be the last for the night. Who won? Bella! Yay, Bella! Congratulations. Those are our pugs.
The pugs are due. All right, so what do you think we want to do next time?
I'm not sure.
I showed that the chicken one, the chicken piccata.
Oh, I love chicken piccata. We can do chicken piccata. That's a little bit more involved, but I think the way that we like to do everything, like I prepared all the cheese ahead of time, prepared the guanciale ahead of time, got the water going, and so it's a short cooking process and getting prepped.
Yes to the
Chicken piccata it is.
I'll make the show right now, and we'll do it again tomorrow. Next week, Sunday at 6.
Sunday at 6
on the West Coast.
Pacific time. So that is all for this evening. I hope you enjoyed making bucatini alla matriciana with us. We certainly enjoyed it, and we hope that you can make Sunday supper with us next week, and hope you enjoy making it yourself. Send us any notes if you have any more questions or suggestions. Ciao.
Ciao, bellos. You need help? Here and show.
And show.
Yeah, they got a nice view of all that at the end.
No, they were looking straight up at the ceiling. Oh.
Still live. Gotta do it again. We have done this before.